Simple sentence means it contains a single clause which is independent. Single clause means that this type of sentence must have a subject and a predicate. Now, for example, I always wanted to become a writer. Moving on to the next slide, it is about compound sentence. Now, what do you mean by compound sentence? These type of sentence must have more than one independent clause. So in the previous sentence we saw that it was talking about only I, about myself. Now in this example, if you see, I always wanted to become a writer and she always wanted to become a doctor. So there are two subjects, but then both of the sentence are independent. They are not dependent on each other. And these two sentences are being combined by a conjunction and. So this type of sentences are called compound sentence. Moving to the next slide, complex sentence. Complex sentence are those sentences which must have more than one clause. Means the number of clause here would be more than one, and one of them would be an independent clause and the other would be a dependent clause. And okay, so for example, I know that she wants to become a doctor. Here there are two subjects, and the first subject that is which is I know. Here I know is the first subject, and she wants to become a doctor is the second. She wants to become a doctor. She here is the second subject. Now she wants to become a doctor is an independent is a dependent clause on I know, and it could be both, vice versa. I mean, I know can also be an independent clause, and she wants to become a doctor can also be an independent clause, or other way around. Okay. Now moving to the next slide, compound complex sentence. Compound complex sentence, from the name itself we can understand that it is a mixture of compound sentences and complex sentences. So in compound sentences, what did we understand? We understood that it would have more than one independent clause. Okay. And in complex sentence, what did we understand? We understand that it would have one dependent clause and one independent clause. So our compound complex sentence would be, let's see the example. I know that she wants to become a doctor, but I always wanted to become a writer. I hope by the example it is clear. Moving to our next sentence type, it is declaration sentence. So declaration sentence it generally declares about something. Okay, it always ends with a period, which means a full stop. So if we check the example, I want to become a good cricketer, which is a simple sentence and it ends with a full stop. And the next example is I am very happy today. Moving on to the next slide, imperative sentence. It is used to give a request or to a command. So generally in this type of sentence, we generally request someone or we give some command. So it usually ends with a full stop, but under certain circumstances, it can end with a note of exclamation as well. For example, please sit down. In this, we are requesting somebody to sit down. So hence, it is an imperative sentence. In the next example, I need you to sit down. So here we are giving a command and it is ending with an exclamation mark. Hence, it is also an imperative sentence. Moving to the next type of sentence is interrogative sentence. In this type of sentence, we generally ask a question and it generally ends with a question mark. It is very simple. So let's see the example. When are you going to submit your assignment? So yes, it is a question and it is ending with a question mark. The next example is, do you know him? It is also ending with a question mark and it is a question. Hence, these type of sentences are called interrogative sentence. Moving to the next slide, exclamatory sentence. So by exclamatory sentence, one thing is clear is that it must end with an exclamation mark. Also, it always expresses emotions. Emotions can be happiness, sorrow, anger, etc. So if we see the example, what a day it was. Oh, here we are expressing happiness, and this sentence is ending with an exclamation mark. Hence, it is an exclamatory sentence. I couldn't believe he could do that. It could be both out of happiness or it could be out of anger as well. Hence, in both the cases, the emotion is being expressed. Hence, it is an exclamatory sentence, as well as the sentence ends with an exclamation mark. So here we end with our sentence type of sentences, and the session for today. So I am very thankful to you all for giving your time, and I hope this is useful. If you have any query, please call or message us on the number that we have, on the school number that we have provided to you all. Thank you. Be safe and be aware.